From that report, we want to bring in our group science and health editor, that is Dr. Mercy Korir, who will be heading off to the airport where the consignment of the vaccines are expected to touch down any minute from now. Dr. Mercy, what is the roadmap, the landing and afterwards?
Okay, Abby, so the plane has been on air for about an hour and 9 minutes, and we'll be showing you shortly that it's still in the airspaces at the Middle East. But so we expect it to land in Kenya. Touchdown is 18 minutes past midnight. That's when we expect that the plane will have landed down, and we expect that from there on now the vaccines will make it, to the central vaccine stores. So you can see that it's just barely taken off from Doha. This plane started its journey from India, from the Serum Institute of India, where this AstraZeneca, Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines are being manufactured. And now, as you can see, the flight path, its destination is JKIA, Nairobi, Kenya, at 18 minutes past midnight. So we're keeping tabs on this plane to make sure that the vaccines actually land in Kenya, 1,020,000 vaccines, after which they go to the central vaccine stores in Kitengela soon after being cleared at the port. Then from there, the government has it in two batches. The first one, 495,000 doses, which the previous story by Baldin Waleula highlighted, and then 525,000 other doses later on to the level 5 and level 6 facilities. Of note here is that the vaccines are free at all level 5 and 6 facilities. At the very beginning, we expect that the frontline healthcare workers will be vaccinated, and this involves everyone who deals with the patient, everyone in a hospital setting. So it could be the watchman, it could be the cleaner at the hospital, the doctor. Everyone who works in a hospital setting is a frontline healthcare worker, and they've been lined up for this vaccine, after which now the government has a whole priority list of who will be vaccinated. And so this, of course, is a historic moment. From earlier on, we know that Ghana received its 600,000 doses of the COVAX facility vaccines. Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, received its just slightly above 500,000 doses. Today, Angola was the first country in the southern and eastern part of Africa to receive its COVAX facility doses. So as we can see, the COVAX facility set out a whole distribution mechanism. It's the largest of its kind through UNICEF, the WHO, Gavi, and the Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness and Innovations. So the target is 2 billion doses to 190 countries. Out of these, 92 are under the COVAX facility, where Kenya is one of those countries. And so we expect that within the next 1 week, 2 weeks, there'll be a lot of activity on the African airspace as we look at delivering these vaccines to those who need it the most. And as we heard from the other story, we've seen that initially, the West, which is home to about 14% of the world's population, had more than 50% of the vaccine doses ordered. So this COVAX facility actually is supposed to cater for those in the low and middle income countries like Kenya, who may not have the financial muscle to, negotiate and get these vaccines. And so this is a historic moment. This is a big time for Africa. It's definitely a big time for Kenya, a big deal for Kenya that these vaccines are coming in. It's all hands on deck. It's all systems go. And we expect that this vaccination program rollout that we expect will start anytime from Friday will run smoothly, and that everyone who deserves to get this vaccine, the jab, will actually get that jab, Abby.
All right, Dr. Korir, one of the big questions right now is the safety and the sanctity of the vaccine when it's arriving into the country. Do we know whether our facilities have the right infrastructure to take on the vaccines? Okay.
So initially, the vaccines are supposed to be stored under 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. So this is fridge temperatures. This is the usual routine vaccination temperatures that we know of. If you're thinking about your everyday childhood vaccines, we're talking about polio, we're talking about tetanus, all these vaccines are being stored under that. And that's why the country opted for the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, because we already have that infrastructure. So from the reports the government is giving us is that we are able to handle this. Our central stores in Kitengela is able to. The other 8 regional stores are able to store this because it's already within the existing routine vaccination programs. Those in the far-flung areas, we're talking about Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, Turkana, will have their vaccines flown there under those strict 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, so that by the time they're getting to the end user, they are still within that safety profile. Now, this I found interesting when I was talking to the head of the vaccines and immunization program, that, you know, the 1 vial of the vaccines has enough doses for 10 people. So once that is open, it has to be used within 6 hours. And so we expect that now, once the rollout starts, it will be, you know, quick turnaround time to make sure that everyone is able to be vaccinated. Everyone who's been registered and has an appointment is able to get that vaccine, so that we do not waste any of those vaccines once the vials are opened.
All right. Very detailed reporting there from Dr. Mercy Korir. And clearly you can see from the flight radar that the vaccines are still airborne. They'll be landing in a few minutes, actually in a few hours, yes. And we'll be covering that for you here on KTN News, where you get the whole story. And I'd like to also get some interesting insights from my panelists at this hour. We'll be joined by Dr. James Nikal, who is in our city studio. We also have with us Professor Oyugi, who is a virologist at the University of Nairobi. And we also have Dr. Chibanzi Mwachonda, who will be joining us. My colleague Sophia Wanuna also spoke to the Cabinet Secretary